Welcome back to Tales Recapped. Today, I'm going to explain the film called Monster Hunt, released in 2015. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and stay safe. The movie starts with a narration about how monsters and humans once lived together, until humans went to war against the monsters to be able to dominate the world. With that, monsters were banished from the human world, and not too long after that, a civil war started that led to the Monster King getting assassinated. The whole turn of events leads to several killings, with the queen of the late king now on the run with her pregnant stomach. She is soon being chased down by the new Monster King, but with the help of two of her loyal servants, she is able to escape. The new king turns back devastated, as he has expected to catch the pregnant queen and also kill the baby, with legend claiming the baby would be a unique baby. From there, we are then taken to a small Chinese village where we meet a man who claims to be the mayor, helping to settle a fight. Later on, he is seen inside a house where he seems to be looking for his grandmother. He is also seen using a wooden leg support. Before he enters though, he sets off some booby traps, and just as the little noise from the room stops, he enters and is attacked by an old woman, but he is able to defend himself. Apparently, the woman is his grandmother, and he then introduces himself as Tian Yin, as Grandma doesn't seem to know him because she has a memory problem. They eventually start talking, and his grandmother tells him she's going to look for his father, who was part of the Monster Hunt Bureau. Elsewhere, a group of monster hunters are in a room with a rich Imperior addressing them. He tells them about how the Monster Hunt Bureau was dissolved, and then promises them a better future, holding out a picture of a baby monster. Back in the village, Tian Yin is out in the woods when he notices two strangers, a man and woman, coming into the village. He invites them to his restaurant, and just as he walks them to the place, someone is seen watching them from behind a tree. Tian Yin and his creepy visitors soon reach the restaurant, where he offers them water. Suddenly, the woman who had been watching them as they walked over to the restaurant comes in. She takes a seat, and then there seems to be an unease around the room. It doesn't take long after that she exposes them as monsters, much to the surprise of Tian Yin. They soon change their form and turn out to be the monsters that were accompanying the queen earlier. A fight erupts, and just then, the queen slips out of a bag in which she has been hiding, and she then suddenly makes her way to Tian Yin, who is also hiding. The monster hunter named Woe continues to challenge the monsters, but just as he's about to get them, a man named Louis Gang comes in and captures them, stealing what would have been a prize for Woe. Tian Yin and the queen then come out of hiding, and again, Liu Kang tries to capture her, but he's unsuccessful, with the queen spitting on Tian Yin before she escapes. Liu Kang leaves with the two monsters now in his possession, and Woe informs Tian Yin that the spit was a marker and that the monster would come back for him. She ties him up just beside her as they plan to sleep, and somehow, she also manages to zip his mouth. Later that night, something is seen trying to cut Tian Yin off the wooden bed, and it turns out successful, with Woe still fast asleep. The queen then appears to be dragging out Tian Yin, until she then drops him and tells him that she wants him to carry her baby since she's dying. Before he could react, she stuffs his mouth with something, and just then, his stomach swells, and just like that, he becomes pregnant. In the middle of the whole new pregnancy, the new Monster King appears and attacks the queen, but she dies before he can even do much. Unsure of what to do to fight off the Monster King, Tian Yin soon gets help from Woe, and at the end, they manage to escape. Inside the house, Woe missteps and lands on the trigger for the booby traps, and suddenly, she gets trapped. Tian Yin first laughs at her, and then goes out to find help, only to be surprised at what he would see. The Emperor is seen asking questions about the Monster Queen, and interestingly, it turns out that almost everyone in the village were monsters. Some of them try to make a joke of the Emperor, and to show his power, he kills one of them and arrests the others. The Emperor's men also make sure to burn the whole village. Luckily, the Woe is able to escape and also help the pregnant Tian to get away before they would be noticed. With no one around by the next morning, Tian Yin laments how he had failed to keep the people safe in the absence of his grandmother. Together, Tian Yin and Woe leave town, with Woe particularly interested in the rewards that will come with selling the baby monster. They soon reach a small town and stop to get food. Tian Yin seems to be really hungry as he eats and continues to eat, ignoring Woe's request for him to stop eating. From afar, Woe spots Liu Gang and tells Tian Yin to run because she was sure Liu Gang would only be interested in personal gains with the baby. As Liu Gang enters, Woe accuses him of robbing her earlier. He then offers to team up with her to get the baby by using Tian as bait, telling Woe it would come with a really big reward. He also tells her that the two monsters he captured had escaped. She denies seeing Tian and then leaves. Before she can escape with him, Liu Gang figures out that she was lying. He circles them out back and then attacks Tian. Woe is however there to help. From nowhere, the Monster King returns and a huge fight starts, with Tian Yin even helping and losing his leg support in the process. The whole fight ends with Woe and Tian leaving Liu Gang to fight off the monster alone. And, well, after a gruesome battle, he wins, but the monster escapes. Woe and Tian manage to make it to a hotel, and for the first time in a while, we see the two monster servants again in their human form, looking on suspiciously. While Tian Yin is in the room, Woe makes her way down to the restaurant, where a woman named Ying Ying engages her in a conversation. Woe also meets Ying Ying's husband, Xing Dao. During the conversation, Woe realizes that there are a lot of monster hunters in the hotel. Back in the room, the monster servants have made their way into the room, as Tian Yin seems to be in serious pain. They render him unconscious and then try to escape with him. But Woe reaches just in time and pays something on their head that leaves them motionless. Woe then wakes Tian and realizes that he's already in labor. While she's trying to help him, Ying Ying and her husband hear sounds from outside the room, and as she speaks to see what's wrong, she sees that someone is about to deliver a baby. She then steps in to help, asking her husband to stay outside. As Ying Ying discusses with Woe as to how to deliver a baby, Tian Yin is wriggling in pain, and all of a sudden, he delivers a baby. But not from where you would have expected. A huge ball rolls out of Tian Yin's mouth, much to the surprise of Ying Ying. Woe then hits to faint. After moving around the room, the ball eventually stops, and as Woe holds it, it forms into a monster baby. Woe and Tian then leave the hotel, not before they try to confuse Ying Ying as to what she thought she saw. They also leave the monster servants, still motionless, somewhere outside the hotel. Elsewhere, we get to see Liu Gang again, and this time, he is starving. But he's lucky, as Ying Ying and Xing Tao help him when they discover he's a monster hunter. Yo and Tian Yin take care of the monster baby, and Tian Yin even tries to teach it some morals, and soon they grow fond of each other. However, the day to sell off the baby comes, and despite disagreeing, Woe still sells the baby to a rich lady who immediately pays something on the cage where the baby is to prevent it from escaping. Realizing what had happened, the baby cries as its attempts to escape are not successful, and it sees Tian leave. Away from the baby, Tian and Woe have a moment to reflect on what they had just done, and in that moment, Tian names the baby Wuba. Feeling guilty for what they had done, especially since the monster baby seemed to like them, they go back to the rich lady to get Wuba back, but they are told that it had been sold to the Emperor's restaurant, where it will be served to guests at a feast. At the Emperor's kitchen, Wuba is seen, as well as other monsters who are being prepared to be served. The chef makes several attempts to cook, boil, and fry Wuba, but all her efforts are in vain and pain, and they finally decide to let the monster be served just as it was. Meanwhile, the Monster Queen's servants make it into the halls of the feast, and after figuring out where Wuba was, they set out to save him, though they must be wary of Liu Gang, who they do not know is following them. Elsewhere, Woe and Tian Yin also make their way into the kitchen, and there, Tian Yin gets to see the monsters in his village that had been captured. Before he can save them, a fierce-looking hunter attacks him and Woe. In the process of fighting, Woe and Tian Yin have a moment alone, where she seems to show her love for him, after which he stumbles and kisses her. Eventually, they manage to defeat the man and save the captives. Already on its way to the feast, Wuba is then seen in an elevator, locked inside what looked like a dish carrier. The monster servants are then attacked by Liu Gang as they try to save Wuba. In a series of events that leads to Liu Gang almost dying, the monsters save him. He then doesn't hesitate to replicate the favor by helping them fight the same fierce hunter that Woe and Tian had faced earlier. Back at the feast, Wuba is brought in, and just as he's about to be killed by something that looks like an insect, Woe and Tian Yin come in just after meeting Tian's grandmother, who was also there, claiming to find her son. A huge battle ensues with the Emperor, then emerging as the killer monster himself. He kills off quite a lot of people and scatters the banquet hall. Tien Yin's grandmother gives Tien a sword to help defeat the monster. But unfortunately, as she tries to stab the monster, he gets killed with the same sword. Huo rages and tries to kill the monster, but is unsuccessful. Wuba then approaches Tien Yin and seems to be sad at the sight of his death. Wuba then removes the sword from Tien Yin's chest, and in the process, spills blood which seems to revive Tien Yin and also make the sword new. With this, Tien Yin is able to get up again and fight the monster, and this time he kills it after a series of moves that ends up getting the sword heated up. Elsewhere, Liu Gang has helped the monsters kill his fellow hunter, and as a thank you, they kiss him on the cheek at the same time. With the monster dead, everything seems to be fine again, and Wo acknowledges herself as Tien Yin's wife. Tien Yin also gets a coin from his grandmother to mark his rank as a monster hunter. Later on, Tien Yin is forced to say goodbye to Wuba as it sends it to its fellow monsters by yelling at the monster baby in similar fashion to how his father yelled at him when he was also leaving. Wuba then leaves, with Wo and Tien Yin also leaving together as Tien Yin talks about finding his father. The movie ends with a narration that Wuba ends up leading his fellow monsters while also striving for peace with humans. Subscribe for more videos like this, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell icon. And lastly, leave a like as it will really help the channel out. Thanks for watching.